That's a way to start coughing. Good morning, guys. It is now 8:30 in the morning, and we still have no load. I woke up at 4 o'clock, called them up, and they said, oh, well, the load won't be ready until noon. So I fell back asleep. Woke up about 7:30 or so, 8 o'clock, something like that. And called my dispatcher, or sent my dispatcher a message, letting him know that, you know, load was just now bumped down to like 12 o'clock. And he said, okay, what about all the other numbers he gave me? So I was like, alright, let me check on those. But, so I checked on them, and of course, every single load was pushed back. Some of the loads that were due at like 7 in the morning are now due at midnight. And there was one load that was supposed to be due at like noon or something like that ain't gonna be ready until 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. So I was like, okay, now what? Well, the load he put me on got postponed until 12, and then they said 1:30. So he said, alright, let's find something else. I said, alright, let's do that. So now we just got our new load. We're going to deadhead 160 miles. They're paying me loaded miles for it though, so that's good. So we're going to get that load. It's down there in Pennington. I just wrote it down too. Pennington, Alabama, at another place, same place like what I'm picking up here. And that's going all the way up to Green Bay, Wisconsin. My home territory for Packers. I think it's time to buy me a Cheesehead. I think my wife will like that. Especially since we had a decent paycheck. I'll have some money to spend. We'll see how it rolls. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get rolling here. And sorry for the video, guys, of being, you know, like an hour or so long. But that's like 2 days worth, you know, half an hour piece, you know, give or take. It works. But look at this. We are still uploading at 60%. Still uploading. This internet blows. And that started at like fucking hell. I started that at like 8 o'clock last night. 9 o'clock last night, some shit like that. And we're just at 60%. That's bad. That's real bad. And see, normally I upload them on my tablet, not on my phone. But I figured because of how slow my internet is, I'm not going to try to tether my phone to my tablet. That'll just slow it down even more. Yeah, if I did that, we'd probably be only like 30% right now. But we're at 60%. Hopefully as we're driving, we'll get into a better area. Bump it up, at least get into a 4G area or something. That'll boost it along. But I've noticed that my signal doesn't like Mississippi too much. Internet bounces all around. But we'll see how it goes, guys. And oh, I forgot to do this. I need to log back on duty. There. Now I'm on duty. But forgot to do that when I was doing my pre-trip. But anyways, alright, we're gonna roll out, guys. So stay tuned. And we'll see what we see. Alright, so we're about a half an hour away. I just went and had breakfast a little bit ago. Stopped at a little Huddle House and had me some eggs and waffles and all that good stuff. Wasn't gonna make a video just yet, but oh, now my mic's falling off. Hold on. I'll reclip it here. Hope you guys don't hear too much banging around as it rubs against me. But am I the only one? Let me know. You know, leave a message in the comment section below. Let me know. Am I the only one that doesn't really like sitting behind these log trucks? You know, I got a little bit closer of a distance now just to let you guys see what it is. But I usually like to definitely keep my distance from them. I don't know if it's just the fear of the the factor of that Final Destination movie, where that one flatbed or whatever was hauling those telephone poles or some shit, and it went right through the front windshield of that guy's car. I've always, and just sitting here watching all the trees just kind of bounce around. I mean, how secure are they? I mean, really? You got all them logs held down by like 3 straps or so, some shit like that. I mean, it amazes me that they don't come sliding out of there with all the bouncing. But needless to say, I like to keep my distance almost to where we are now, which we're about 2 truck lengths behind it right now, running 60 miles an hour. And technically, I'm still within safety rules of being following too close in a way, but I'm empty. I know the stopping power of my truck, and of course I'm paying attention, obviously. Got to definitely pay attention when those things are in front of you. But it looks like we're coming into some more road construction here. Might be stopping, so then you can actually look at all the trees. But especially for those of you guys like that's on the West Coast that don't see too many of these. Obviously, if you live in the South, you know, you drive in the South a lot, that's mainly where you see all these guys at. I know up there in Oregon and Washington, I believe they're up there as well. But like all you guys in Arizona and New Mexico and Southern California, you'll never see them because hell, you don't have those tall trees over there. You got cactuses and desert shit. So you never have to worry about them. But man, sometimes I get kind of leery depending on how much they're bouncing around, you know. Especially when you see these real long ones sitting on the top and they're just sitting there nagging at you, bouncing up and down like, yep, we're slowly loosening up this strap. Yep. You know, everything's settling. It's finding its little hole. I don't know if they're like the like flatbeds are now where you got to pull over every 3 hours or every 150 miles, something like that, to do a load check on a flatbed. I know it's something like that. I've never actually done flatbed. I kind of want to do it just to give myself some more exercise, I guess you can say. Give me something to do other than just walk back there, open the doors, and climb back in the truck. Close the doors, climb back in the truck. Slide some tandems here and there, you know, climb back in the truck. That's all it seems like we do. We don't ever really get too much work. I would unload some of my loads, but they don't pay enough to unload it. So I'm not going to break my back when they can pay the lumpers to do it. Plus, most of our stuff is drop and hook for the most part anyways. But there are sometimes that, you know, I wish I could unload it. But only if they would pay me close to what they're going to be paying the lumpers. I'm not asking for the exact amount. You know, if a lumper's charging you $300, you should be willing to pay, you know, the driver at least $200. At least. You know, it's just there. You're going to spend the money anyway, so why not give it to the driver that's willing to get out and do a little bit of extra exercise, you know? I know they charge it back to the shippers and that for the lumber fees and shit, but hell, what's the difference of you paying an employee versus paying you know, your own driver? But it is what it is. You know, companies do what they want to do. But anyways, we're 25 miles away. Beautiful day outside, really beautiful day. Partially cloudy, you know, you can see the clouds up there probably. You know, it's a nice day, sunny, 83 degrees. It's a beautiful day outside. Well, now when I stopped and had breakfast, I left the windows up and left the truck running just so Spike would have some air conditioning. Because those of you truck drivers out there know, even if you roll down your windows and it's, you know, 75 degrees outside, you're not getting much air into that sleeper. Unless you got windows that open up, you know, and that. But if you got like the little air vents, those things are practically pointless. I can only see those things really working if there's a really good wind, or if you're driving down the road and you open them up to where the wind gets sucked into it. It's the only way I've ever had a real breeze through there. But I'm gonna probably break down and buy me some fans and mount them up above the, pretty much right by the visors, so that way I can help get a cross breeze blowing when I'm stopped. But I want something that's I want a fan that's kind of quiet. I don't want one of those metal ones that sit there and just vibrate. because that shit gets annoying, you know. But I want to have them up there, probably one on each side, and kind of have them in an X pattern, so that way it blows right into the sleeper at an angle. But we'll find out. We'll see. I was pricing out some generators when I went home. Want to get me a nice quiet generator, something like a Honda. If you guys know of a generator out there, or where I can get one, whether, you know, obviously it'd have to be new if it's at a store, but if you guys know of any other generators that run really quiet, that are, you know, as quiet, if not quieter than the Hondas, let me know where to get it, and let me know like the brand name or whatever of it. You know, it's got to be at least like 3,500 watts, you know, 4,000 watts, something like that, so that way I can run a window AC unit for like a house. Be ghettofied and throw it up in the passenger window whenever I stop. But I'm really liking those Hondas, because I walked by a couple of those when I was cruising around the car show, and there was a couple fifth wheels and trailers that had those, and they were out there running, and hell, you can barely hear the damn thing. So I mean, that's what I definitely want. I don't want a lot of noise on my sleeper or like on my catwalk or whatever. So if you know of one, leave me a comment down in the comment box. Let me know for sure what the brand name is and that. And hell, if you know of a price or whatever, hell, that'd be even better. Post a link to it or something, you know, if you got it. Go ahead, put my foot down to get around this guy before this lane ends real quick. Even though we only got 7 miles till we're turning, but he's cruising on the kind of slow side, so we'll get around him. But yeah. So it's gonna be a long trip from Alabama all the way up to Green Bay. But it'll be nice, you know, stay in some of the cooler weather. I haven't looked it up on the map yet to see if I'll be able to stop by the house for the night or not. But with the driving today and then going home, I'd be stopping right around the house area, give or take a little bit. That's about where I'd be running out of time, I'm guessing. If I'm going that way, I'm not sure. We'll see. Most likely shooting where I'm at, most likely I'll probably shoot up 65 all the way up to by Chicago area, kind of split off that way. Without looking at a map book, that's what I'm guessing. I don't know, it could be something else. We'll find out once I get over here and pick up this load. Punch it in the navigation, look it up on the map book, do my my normal cross reference, you know, and see where we're going. See what we're doing. That's one thing I do like about the newer navigations and that. You can select, you know, you can compare routes, so you can make it to where it'll select toll roads or stay away from toll roads, or just use your basic, you know, preferences and show you two different routes. They've gotten a little bit better on that secondary routing, but then some of it's still kind of like, why the hell would you go that far out of the way? Just do it, you know. I wish it was a lot better two-choice routing. Two of the fastest ways, you know, not the fastest way and the most scenic way. You know, give two of the fastest routes. Especially if you got, say for instance, you're going up 24 from Georgia, or I mean 75 from Georgia, and you have the option of splitting off right there at 75 and 24 to go to, you know, something that's just north of Nashville or something, where you have that split and you can kind of pick either way. Granted, one's a little bit longer than the other, but they seem like they're fairly close together. You know, there might only be like 20 miles difference, so that way you can see time difference wise of, you know, especially like when it says, oh, take this back road over here to over here to over here to over here to get back up to this freeway here, when all you have to do is go a little bit maybe out of the way to get to this other major interstate and just run the interstate or freeway, whatever you want to call it. So that way you know, okay, is it faster to run the interstate? But then that's where he uses common sense too. You got to think about it. You know, you're cutting through the woods on all these back roads where 90% of them are, you know, 55 and 60, 65 mile an hour speed limits. But then you got to worry about all these little towns that you're going through where you might drop down to, you know, 35 and 40 and even 25 miles an hour in some points. So all that the speed build up and speed decrease, you know, it takes time. You know, it takes time off your day. So that's one thing I wish that the routing would do. But stop scratching on that. You can't eat that. No. Spike. No. He's learning. He's learning that no word. So they're trying to give. He's scratching where my shifter's at, but I got my Qualcomm cord right there. So it's like if he's trying to drag the Qualcomm cord to him. He's got his toy right there in front of him that he keeps chewing on. I got one of those little stuffed animals out of one of those claw machines, and Mel decided he was going to chew the squeaker toy out of one of his stuffed animals. So I cut the stitching on the back of this Hello Kitty thing and put the squeaker toy in it. The squeaker toy really doesn't do anything for Spike yet. He hasn't realized it. I've heard him squeak it a couple times, but nothing major. Not like a constant squeak back and forth. But at least this material, it's a lot thicker of a material. And with Spike chewing on it as much as he is, I'm surprised he hasn't poked a hole in it. I don't know if he's just chewing on it because he's teething or what. But which I think that's what most of his biting's for too, is that he's teething. Plus he doesn't understand. He's trying to play. But he doesn't understand that he's biting harder than he doesn't realize how hard he's biting. But anyways, we're getting real close to this shipper over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go for right now. And stay tuned. We'll be hitting the road once we get picked up. All right, so we stopped over here in, I don't remember the name of the town, Alabama. Right off of 65 exit 322. Almost right next to the Tennessee border. Well, I think we're like 40 miles from the Tennessee border. But we got Spike out here. Trying to get him to go to the bathroom. So we're gonna walk him around for a minute. Let's see, he's a good boy. He finally stopped bleeding, stopped pussing. I've been making him leave it alone by every time I see him try to, you know, scratch it, I tell him no and push his paw away as best as possible. Well, if you can stop spinning me in circles. Still trying to train him on a leash though. He's still not quite there yet. I could probably take him off the leash because he doesn't usually go too far from me. But I don't want to take that chance being that it's not my dog. I don't want to have to go home and say, hey, I'm sorry. Your dog ran away and I didn't want to chase him down. Or, you know, worst case scenario, good boy. Go potty, good boy. Now I get to give him another treat because he went potty again. Outside, not in the truck. So far we haven't had any accidents in the truck. I've been leaving him out of the cage except for when we sleep. Except for earlier today, I put him in the cage. Why did I put him in the cage? Oh, I was going to be out of the truck for a little bit. And I didn't really want to trust it yet. So, obviously I put him in a cage, but other than that, as we've been driving, he's been out of the cage. While we were stopped and not doing anything, he was out of the cage. And then of course when he went to go to sleep, or when it was time for me to go to sleep I should say, back in the cage he went after I walked him, of course. I'm not that cruel. He waited till morning. We got up and did I walk him at 4 o'clock? You know, yeah, I walked him at 4 o'clock in the morning when I got up. And then even when I woke back up again after laying back down at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, whatever time it was. No! Oh, they're trying to chew on some rubber. But see, you yell at, tell him no, and he's listening. He's learning. But there was something over there that he just saw. Squirrel or a bird or some shit. But we're gonna go ahead and stop by the house tonight. So by the time you watch this, I'll be leaving the house in the morning. No. Because this route goes right through the house, so we're gonna stop by the house, and then because at that time I'll only have like an hour left to drive, and if I'm within an hour from the house, I'm staying at the house. Why would I sleep an hour at a truck stop? Actually, from an hour up from me, on the way that I'm going, there isn't even a truck stop. There's one up there at the top side of Kentucky, but it's a really small pilot, and there's not very much parking. And I mean, there's rest areas and shit that I could probably stop at, but if I'm that close to the house, I'm going home. Everybody knows that. Even my dispatcher knows that, because he sent me, he's like, well, got you a 2100 appointment for tomorrow, so hammer down. And I'm like, well, from the house to Green Bay, yeah, I'm gonna be hammered down, all right. It'll be a close to a 700-mile day tomorrow. Needless to say, we're gonna haul ass tomorrow. But we're gonna be on the move tomorrow, that's for sure. So I don't know yet if I'm gonna leave Spike at home and just take Mel back out with me. Can you stop spinning around me? Shit. Or if I'm, or if I'm just gonna put him back on the truck. Most likely I'm gonna take him back out on the truck because he still needs some training. And he's a good pup so far. Haven't had too much training with him. This way. Teach you that command. This way. Get out of the damn mud. Oh my god, this shit's like, get out of the dirt, stupid. This way. Yeah, you heard that truck pop its brakes and get scared. But this grass is all wet. It's all mushy from the mud. As you can tell, can you see it? Hopefully you'll be able to see it. It's kind of muddy. He's over here running around. But I'm gonna let you guys go for right now. We're gonna hit the road here in a minute. I'm gonna let him kind of run around and play while I finish my cigarette. Went and got my food, get out of the hole, and then we're gonna hit the road. Stay tuned. Welcome to the good shit, I can't even talk. Welcome to the Guitar City. We're just right outside Nashville. Let me mute my navigation because I know it's gonna want to talk to me, and I know where I'm going. We are headed to the house. We are currently 59 miles now from the house. Currently it's 72 degrees outside. The sun already set. At least we ain't got to worry about traffic because it's 8 o'clock at night right now. But it's still a beautiful day out here. Nice clear skies. Tomorrow should be pretty good. I'm hoping that tomorrow will be favorable, I guess you can say. That in the morning when I get ready to leave, I'll hit the exit that's right next to the house. Take the truck over there. Get her all washed up and looking purty. But had to make sure I had my headlights on. Didn't want to be like some of these guys and run with no headlights on after dusk. I don't know how well you guys can see. It's not completely dark. If you didn't have your headlights on, yes, I would still be able to see you. But it makes it hard from time to time. But there was a gentleman that posted in my last vlog, or my 2-day vlog. I'll get to answer your question here when I get home. But that really sucked. That was like spit that went down the wrong pipe. That sucked. I hate that. But he asked a question, and his question is, if you get pulled over by DOT and you're on paperless logs, also known as e-logs or electronic logs, or the babysitter, as some people like to call it, how can you show them your logs? Well, the answer is very simple, actually. For those of you that don't know anything about electronic logs, because you're either on paper logs still with the company that you're with, or an owner-operator with, by yourself and you run paper, or if you're just getting into trucking and you're wondering, you're reading up on the laws and all this kind of stuff, and you're wondering. Electronic logs, depending on the device that you have in your truck, most trucks are equipped with a Qualcomm name brand, Qualcomm, just like a lot of these, a lot of your Samsung phones and stuff like that. If you look on them, it's actually a Qualcomm device as well. I don't know if it's made by the same exact Qualcomm or not. They're spelled the same, but I don't know if they're exactly the same company or not. That I couldn't tell you. But the Qualcomm, when you pull your logs, or depending on the device you have, before I got my new one, well, it's not even new, it's still an older system. I got the MCP50, like Michael Carey Paul 50. It's just it's a touch screen Qualcomm that's probably, I don't know, maybe 8 inches long by like 4 or 5 inches tall or so, just a rectangle device. It's all touchscreen. I can send my messages to my dispatcher and view my logs as I'm driving, and it tells me exactly how many hours I have left on my drive time. So before my half-an-hour break, it starts. As soon as you log on, it starts your 8-hour clock, and then it'll count down. Then once you do your half-an-hour break, as long as you do your half-an-hour break after your 3 hours of driving, preferably 3 hours of driving, not 3 hours of being on duty. But if you do a half-an-hour break 3 hours after you've been physically driving, then after that half an hour is up, it'll show you back up to 8 hours or whatever you have physically left on your clock that you can drive for that day, going off your 11/14. Because obviously if you drive at least 4 hours, can do eight more hours, because that'll put you at 12 hours. You're already over your 14 at that point. So that's why I said, a good basis is 3 hours of preferred driving time. Because if you're just on duty for 3 hours, granted, you can still drive for 8 hours and still have extra time, after that, after you do another half-an-hour break. But if you've been physically driving for 8 hours, I'm sorry, if you've been physically driving for 3 hours, then, yeah, you guys understand, because then you can't, 8 hours on top of your 3 hours, that's 11, or depending on what you drive. But anyways, how can you show them? On the one I have, I can pull it up in a couple different ways. I can show them a daily log, and it shows them, it updates itself every, 10, 15 minutes or whatever. It'll tell them I'm 5, like right now, it'll probably say I'm 5 miles, southeast of Nashville, or 3 miles southeast of Nashville. And then, when I get closer to the house, it'll say, so many miles, north, south, east, west, whatever the direction says of that next closest city or something. So it keeps tabs of you that way. But then there's another part I can pull it up, and it actually shows a graph, just like what you're used to viewing when you're on paper logs. You'll see that it'll color where you normally draw your line across the log for, on duty time or driving time or whatever. Instead of drawing a line, it colors it in. I'll have to show that on a video one day, just to kind of show it to you. Make it a little easier to understand, I guess. But you can pull it up by that. Now the other Qualcomm units, I don't know exactly how those work. I can only tell you with what I've used, which is this MCP50, and then the old what do we call the dinosaur Qualcomm. It's just this big old gray box that has like a little screen that's hell. It's about the size of an iPhone screen on there, and it's got a big keyboard. Now that one there, you can't pull up a graph. That one there, it'll pull up, you got to send in to request your logs, wait for them to come back over the satellite system, which I don't even think any more companies are really running that. But, you put in there, you send in the message to request your logs. Once you get your logs back, it doesn't show you a graph form. What it shows you is just line, you know, whatever you were on, and the time that you started, or how long you've been on that line. Then, you know, it'll go down to the next line. So I mean, you got to take those two lines and kind of see at that point in time what you were driving, what you weren't driving, and go from there. And then you can also, at that point in time, it'll give you an option. You can fax over your logs to a specific number. Whether if the DOT physically wants to see it in hand, you know, whether it be the officer that pulled you over, or just right there, you know, at the DOT inspection station, you can fax them a copy of it. But all they're going to see at that point in time is the exact same logs that you see. You know, line whatever at whatever time you started. And then now on the MCP50, I think I can still fax them. I'm not sure. I've never had that problem. But with the MCP50, most of them, they just want you to pull it up to the graph site so they can see the graph, and then they can go through the days on the graph. You know, you can pull up an 8-day, and it'll say, you know, how long you've been driving for your 8 days, how many miles you drove each day, you know, all that. So pretty much if you're on paperless logs or e-logs, that's how you would show an officer, you know, what you've been doing. That's your logs. You're not truly paperless. Well, actually, yeah, you are paperless, but you still have a logbook that you can pull up and show, you know, a specific officer. Now, the one thing that I did like about the old brick dinosaur Qualcomm, I didn't find one officer that ever pulled me over or inspected my truck that properly knew how to read it. There was one time I got pulled over. I was talking to trucker Janelle about this. It was actually really funny. I got pulled over for passing somebody. It was down there in Tennessee. Speed limit's 55. It was a downhill. I passed them up because they kept, you know, changing their speeds all around. Bouncing from 45 to 55, back down to 45, and I got tired of it. Found the next passing area, got around them. Well, he turned around, came after me, and pulled me over for speeding. Didn't give me a ticket, just gave me a verbal warning. No paperwork had to be signed or anything like that. But you know, he asked me for my logs, and this is with a different company. This wasn't with Knight Transportation. But so I pulled up my logs on that Qualcomm, and he's looking at it, and he sees line 1, line 1, line 1, line 1, line 1, line 3, line 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, and all this shit. A couple of 4s in there, you know, but all he mainly saw was line 1s. And then, like, after 2 1s, he saw 3. And he goes, oh, you haven't been driving very much this day, have you? So, nope, just started. Now, granted, I was referring to that I just started with the company. I wasn't referring to that I just started driving that day. But he thought I was just started driving that day, and hell, I was almost out of my 11 hours at that point in time. I thought that was pretty funny. You know, he let me go. I finished on my way, made my delivery, and then parked at the truck stop or wherever I parked. But, you know, that's one thing I definitely liked about that system there, is that a lot of officers did not know how to read it. Even though we had to keep this little form with us, showing them how to read it and to properly read it, you know, they just weren't trained on it. And of course, that officer kept asking me, how do I pull it up as graph? How can you pull it up as graph? And I kept having to tell him that I can't. There's no way, shape, or form. I go, I can fax you a copy to wherever you want me to fax it to, but it's going to come up the exact same way that you're viewing it here. There's no way to get a graph. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. Well then, you know, obviously he let it go. And of course he was getting aggravated at that point in time because back then we were waiting on satellite signal. Like the MCP50 that I have now, it uses like cell phone towers. So it constantly has signal, and when you log on, you know, when you change your duty status, it changes instantly, just like if you were drawing it on paper. Where with the old Qualcomm system, the satellite one, before you pulled up underneath the fuel island, you'd have to park, you know, back a little bit, log yourself off duty or line 4, whatever you're going to be doing. Wait for that message to physically send, and then pull forward and get underneath the canopy, because then it would block your signal. If you didn't do that, it would keep you on the drive line while you're sitting there fueling or, you know, in the store doing whatever, you know, and then pull forward. Then obviously by the time you pull forward after you get done fueling, after you sit there for a couple minutes, then it'll throw you back on, you know, line 4 like it's supposed to. But if you didn't do that, you know, it wouldn't change. So as I'm, you know, sending that message requesting my logs, I could tell the officer was getting fed up. He was tired of waiting. He said, "What's taking so long?" And he goes, "Where's the logs? Where's the logs?" You know, he kept asking me for them. I go, "Sir, I'm sorry. You know, I sent my message requesting my logs for you." I go, "We're dealing with the satellites now." I go, "It could take a matter of, you know, it could be here within 1 minute. It could take 15 minutes. It all, you know, it's already left my Qualcomm, so it's up in the sky, bouncing around the satellites, you know. So it's when we get it, is when we get it. You know, I couldn't tell you anything more about it. Well, finally, after like 6 or 7 minutes, they finally came back, and you know, he was able to read them. But yeah, he got upset with that one. But I don't know if this guy's flashing me to tell me to come over or what. Maybe his truck's just really bouncy. But anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go for right now. I'm gonna finish this ride home, park at the truck stop, and then say my goodbye message. So with that being said, stay tuned. I'll let you know if anything happens between now and 45 miles when we get home. See you in a little bit. Okay, so we made it to the house, or to the truck stop by the house. Got a little worried that I pressed the button too many times. It came up as the camera. And I thought I somehow lost all the videos. But we're over here, we're walking Spike right now, waiting on the wife. She should be here in a minute. But he don't know what to think about this place. He's like, "Where am I?" He's hearing all the noise from all the trucks running. Don't know whether he should go to the bathroom or just wander around. But he keeps getting between my legs or spinning around in circles. Don't know where he's going. But we'll see what happens here. See if he goes to the bathroom or not. Go potty, Spike. But anyways, we're here at the Pilot. And here's the wife. So with that being said, you guys be safe out there on the road. Keep the shiny side up. Keep the rubber side down. Like, share, and subscribe. I know I forgot to say that a couple different times, but like, share, and subscribe. Definitely share it. We're at 250 viewers now. So we're at that halfway point to the bigger giveaway. And for Mark and Papa Joe, I'm really sorry. When I got home this week, I completely spaced and forgot to get your gift cards. But I will get those tonight while I'm at home. I'll run by McDonald's, or since I'm right here at McDonald's, I get a $5 gift card. And I'll stop by and get the one for Steven over at Walmart, and get those mailed out to you guys. But with that being said, guys, be safe. We'll see you in the morning.